Well, g'day, curd nerds. Welcome to another episode of the Ask the Cheese Man videos. We're up to episode 7. But before we do, just like to share a lovely cheese that I've made previously, and this is the Sage Derby. Kind of looks a bit like a blue cheese, the way the marbling happened. Now, you probably would have already seen the taste test for this cheese, but here we go. It's got a lot of, pardon me. Oh, shouldn't have put so much in my mouth at one time. Now that was delicious because it's actually got a little bit more sharpness than it did when I first opened it. Way back in the last month of the last week of December. But yeah, it does taste a lot more, a little bit more acidic. Definitely not like a cheddar. It actually has quite a smooth paste, and it's not sharp like a cheddar. But yeah, it does taste very, very nice. So, highly recommend making the Sage Derby using the recipe that I've put up on the channel. Anyway, let's get to the question, shall we? So the first question is from Jesper. And Jesper asks, "Hi Gavin, I'm a great fan of your video tutorials. I must have watched them several times and now I've started myself. Thanks for all the hard work and for being such an inspiration. I have a few questions I hope you can answer." Thanks, Jesper. Yep, alright, let's have a go, shall we? How do you maintain the target temperature with your double boiler after you've reached it? Do you turn off the heat? I assume that the temperature will continue to rise a couple of degrees after it has been turned off. I have tried with water, but I find it very difficult. Okay, so let's answer that one. So I actually have made a video around heating your milk for cheese making. So I'll pop it up in the card up there. Check that out. Basically, if you haven't seen that video, then all I do is put a pot with about an inch of water, just a small one, and then pop the larger one on top, and I use the steam from the water to control the temperature of the cheese. I find it very reliable, and it doesn't overbalance, contrary to what some people have said on the comments of that video. It's never fallen off in any of the time that I've ever done it. And basically you bring it up to temperature and then you can take the big pot off. That's what I basically do. Take it off, so no more heat. The milk holds its temperature very well, and it stays consistent while the cheese is ripening or is setting after you put the rennet in. So give that a try. Another method of heating your milk is to put it into the sink. If you've got a sink that's large enough, as in not the milk, put the pot in the sink and then put the plug in the sink and fill the sink up with hot water, and that'll act as a water jacket for your pot. And when your milk gets to the right temperature, all you simply have to do is pull the plug out and all of the heat goes away and it won't get any hotter. So that's two really good methods on how to heat your milk. The final one that I'll mention is that you can also, there's some, what are they called? Sous vide or something like that. It's a stick that you put into the hot water. So use the sink method again. Pop it into the water, and this actually, you can control the temperature. It heats the water up over a certain period of time. It's good for those cheeses that you may be having issues with when you have to heat it up over a period of time from a low temperature up to a high temperature, similar to, say, when you're stirring a Parmesan or a Romano or something like that. Okay, I hope that answers that question. So we've got another one, which is from Jesper again. This one: how do you sterilize your ripening box and other plastic boxes? Well, basically what I do before each session is I do fill the sink up with hot water, put some detergent in there, wash them with hot soapy water, and then I rinse them off with hot water again. So that cleans the any plastic equipment that I've got, like the the molds or the press, any cheese baskets I'm using or hoops, and definitely any of the ripening containers that I'm using, because they may have residual bacteria or molds in them. Then after that, so after I've cleaned them thoroughly, then I spray the whole lot with white distilled vinegar. Look, you can use any sort of vinegar. White distilled vinegar is readily available, very cheap, and that tends to kill all the bacteria, molds and yeasts that may have accumulated on those. So then afterwards I just wipe them off with paper towel, which you can get no problems at all, and that way completely sanitized, no fluff, no grease, no bacteria, no yeasts. So very simple. Some people do use bleach, and what you can do there is put 20 mils in 2 litres of water, soak your plastic equipment in that, and then rinse off thoroughly with water. I find if you don't do it properly, then you're going to get some bleach residue and your cheese will taste funny. So I tend to stay away from that, and I use the washing with hot soapy water and then using white vinegar. Seems to work fine. Anyway, thanks for both those questions, Jesper. Appreciate them. The next one is from Aaron, and Aaron writes, first off, I'm a huge fan of yours. I've almost watched all your videos, as I have recently taken up cheese making as a hobby. So the question is, what is the main difference between Parmesan and Romano? They both have the same ingredients and the process seems the same to me. Well, Aaron, yeah, you are right. They do have similar ingredients and similar processes, but the real difference is that Parmesan is made with partially skim milk, or that is milk that is 2% milk fat, and Romano is made with full cream milk, so milk fat between 3.8 to about 4.1. There is some minor differences in the temperatures as well. I think Parmesan, you heat the milk up to a final temperature of 52 Celsius. Romano, I think, is 46 or 48, which makes all the difference in how much whey is expelled from the curds. They also taste a little bit different. Parmesan is a lot drier and sharper, and Romano has a fuller flavour, a richer flavour, but it's not as strong as Parmesan. So that's the answer. That's the main difference between Parmesan and Romano. Okay, the next question is from Happy Lee. Happy says, hi, what is rennet and calcium chloride? Is rennet different from calcium chloride? Well, Happy, yes, rennet is the enzyme that coagulates the milk. It turns it from a liquid into a solid. It comes in a few forms, mainly animal and vegetable rennet. And then there's another one which I'll talk about in a second. So animal rennet comes from the fourth stomach of an unweaned ruminant, so a calf, a baby sheep, what's that, lamb, and a kid, which is the baby of a goat. The enzyme is called chymosin, together with another enzyme called pepsin, curdles the milk produced by the mother as they suckle, and turns into a solid in that stomach, and they're easily they can digest it. So it's taken from a slain animal. That fourth stomach is actually salted and dried out, and they take a little bit of the stomach lining, which still holds the chymosin, put it into water, hold it there for about 24 hours, and then you have a liquid that's good enough for cheese making. And that's how you can buy animal rennet in most cheese making shops. There's another type which are vegetable rennets. So there's a few that you can source from the cardoon thistle. You can use fig sap, and there's another one which I've only heard of recently, which is Indian rennet, which is a vegetable rennet. The botanical name is Withania coagulans, and you actually have to soak that in water, and there's a little bit of a process to get liquid rennet out of that. However, the main form of vegetable rennet these days is made by using what's known as the fermentation-produced chymosin method. So with genetic engineering these days, what they've done is taken the gene that produces chymosin and they put it into certain bacteria or fungus or yeasts, and it makes them produce chymosin with fermentation. However, that genetically modified organism is not present in the final product because it is actually killed during the fermentation, and the chymosin is isolated from the fermentation broth, and then it is labelled as FPC chymosin, and it doesn't contain the genetically modified organism. It's identical to animal chymosin because it's been made that way, but it's more efficient. Most of the rennets today, you will see, are actually fermentation-produced chymosins. And up to, I think, 80% of all cheeses in the Western world are made with chymosin. So, the next question is, what is calcium chloride? Well, calcium chloride is a type of mineral salt, and it's used to restore the balance and add back soluble calcium into the milk after it's been pasteurized or homogenized. So without calcium chloride, the rennetting action is slowed if you use these types of milk. So it actually helps to set a very firm curd. It's typically mixed at about 2.5 ml or half a teaspoon into a quarter a cup or 60 mils of non-chlorinated water, and you can put that into 8 to 10 litres of milk, and that'll fortify the milk, ready for the rennet. So you add it, you can add it either before the starter culture or before you add the rennet. It's a liquid and you store it in the refrigerator. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. If you want to see how I made the Sage Derby at the start of the episode, you can click over here. And don't forget that you can support the show via Patreon, and it keeps these videos twice a week now flowing in your direction. Thanks for watching everybody, and we'll see you next time.